We are live.
Great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Hope you're doing great. And welcome to our last session of design thinking. Ready for the last step of the design thinking process. And looking forward to see all your projects and your ideas for the final stage. Okay, so first, a little review of what we have been doing. So far, what you should have in your project should be already accomplished stage one, which is empathize. Remember that in this stage, what we did is take the focus out of ourselves and our ideas and talk to the people that have the problem that we want to solve. Talk to the potential customers, if you will, and learn from them. What do they need? What are they feeling? How are they suffering the problem? So we can create a real solution for their problem that is something that is going to change their lives. Okay, so from the stage one, empathize, we move to the stage, to the second stage, which is define. Define is a stage where we take the problem, everything we learn from the problem, and we narrow it down to one line, one part of the problem that we're going to be solving. Problems are usually big and have a lot of parts of pieces, and we can't solve them all even if we want. So we have to focus on one part of the problem that we're going to solve. After defining that, we move to stage three, which is ideate. Now we have the refined problem, and we need to create a solution for it, a solution that is both doable, executable, and innovative. So for that, we use the process of brainstorming, and we get the best, most executable, most innovative idea that is also the cheapest to begin. Remember? And on this past week, we worked on our prototypes, how we transform that idea into something real, something tangible, a product or a service that our potential clients can see, can touch, can feel, can understand. And now we arrive to the final stage of this timeline, that is testing. Testing means basically showing our prototype to the same people that we talked to on the empathize stage, to our potential clients, and see what happens, see what they think, what they find, did they like it or not, what recommendations can they give us. It's the end of the state of this process, but at the same time is the stepping stone to other cycles of design thinking. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's go step by step. Now we take our baby to the world. And I say our baby because having an idea, having a project, having a business idea, something that you want to develop, is a little bit like having a baby. It's yours. You feel very protective over it. You don't feel like sharing it with everybody. And when someone says something bad about your baby, you get real mad and you don't want to hear anything about it. We need to let go a little bit of this baby concept, and we have to, just like parents do when we grow up, let your kid go into the world and see how they do, what they need to learn, how they need to grow in order to keep moving forward through life. It's no different with our prototypes and our ideas. Now it's time for us to let our ideas go, or our ideas turn into prototypes, go into the world, and see if they find a fit with the market, with the prospective clients, and or see if they need still more work. There's more work to be done, and we go back to the table. And for this, we test. And this is probably the most frustrating stage of design thinking, because it's frustrating and scary. Because for the first time, it means showing what we created, something personal, something, or baby, showing it to the world, showing it to people that might say, this is a silly idea, this is never going to work, this is ugly, I don't like it, I don't understand it, and a lot of negative comments. And trust me, the first time that you do this, it's going to hurt a lot, because you're going to feel personally attacked. Like, they're not saying that the prototype is bad, they're saying that I'm bad, that I'm not good at this, that I'm not good enough, that my ideas are not good enough. Take those ideas out of your head immediately, because even though it's going to be the first time you hear those negative comments, it's hard. When people tell us those kind of things, even if they are mean-spirited, they are helping us, because they're helping us making our product or service better. Okay, so we test and we test and we test, and we try to show our prototype to as many people as possible. But people that are having the problem, remember, in entrepreneurship, we tend to believe that validation is important, which is true, but not all kind of validation. We need validation from someone who is actually a potential client, someone who is having the problem that I'm trying to solve, someone who might be able to buy or rent or use my service. If I show my prototype to my grandma, she's always going to find my ideas amazing and my projects unique, and she's always going to support me because she loves me. That feedback, that testing that I do with her is no use. It's not useful, because she's not telling me the truth. Perhaps my prototype is horrible and it doesn't make sense. She wants to show her support by giving me support. But in this stage, we don't need that. We need truth. That's why when we are doing this testing, we don't go with our family, we don't go with our friends, we go with people that have the problem. And the more unknown this person is to us, the more truthful their feedback will be, because they won't be afraid of hurting our feelings. So try to look for people that are not relative, not your friends, people that are unknown to you, hopefully, and do this testing. But a few warnings before going out to test our prototypes. We talked a little bit about this one. We have to be objective. We have to remember, whatever feedback we get, either good or bad, it's not about us. It's about our first version of our prototype. And we have to be objective when hearing this. Don't try to go on and correct the other person on their findings. Don't try to over-explain, or just let them give you the feedback. And we have to thank them for their time, and remember that they're sharing their opinions on this thing that we created, this first version of my product or service, but it's not something personal. And even if all the feedback is negative about my first prototype, that doesn't mean that I'm not good enough for this, that my ideas are not good enough for this. It just means I need a little bit more work. Okay? You have to be ready to hear, I don't like it. That's dumb. I don't care for it. It's ugly. I don't understand it, etc., etc. People sometimes can be really mean when giving bad feedback or negative feedback, but it's part of what we do. We have to learn how to take the no's, how to take even the people that are trying purposely to be rude with us. Just take it in. It's another answer to our question of how do you like this prototype, and we process that information, and that's it. It's not personal, and we have to be ready to hear no's. A no in this stage doesn't mean anything else. That's one statistic on the table. We have to be humble. We have to remember that first we're asking people to give their time for free to help us, and that most of them are going to be trying to help us with their feedback. Some people are just going to try to be mean, but most people are going to try to help us. Even if they don't understand what we're doing, even if they don't have experience building prototypes or creating innovative products, they're trying to help. We have to be humble and thank them for their time, thank them for their ideas, their thoughts, even if we don't agree with what they say, even if we don't like what they say. We have to pay attention to every little detail. Just like in the stage of Empathize, when we talk to people and we had to pay attention to their body language, their voice tone, how they react to the questions, all that gives us a lot of information about how they're really feeling about what we're asking them. This stage is the same. We show them the prototype and we see how they react. Are they excited? Do they look puzzled? Like, I don't really understand this. Do they look angry because they expected something else? Do they look emotional? Like, finally, the solution to my problems. All that information is important feedback for you. Also, pay attention to when you give them the prototype. Remember that we're talking about something tangible. Even if it's a video or something you show on a screen, pay attention to how they experience it. Let them play with it and see how they do. What's the first thing they touch? What's their first comment? What do they do? Do they take it and look at all around? All those seemingly unimportant details are actually very important. That's all data, information that you can use to improve your prototype. So try to pay attention to all of that. And finally, the best prototype is like a good joke. If you have to explain the joke, it's not a good joke. The prototype is just the same. You show them the prototype, and they should be able to quickly understand what is solving, how to use it, and how it improves their lives. Of course, this doesn't happen on our first try usually. It takes time. It takes for us to get to know the client a lot. That's why we do this. That's why we do design thinking. So when we create something, we don't have to bet on chance that the client is going to see it, like it, and know how to use it. We know that the client liked it. We know that it's useful for them, and we know that they understand how to use it because they were a part of the process with us. Okay? Are there any questions so far from these 5 tips or anything that I've been saying regarding the testing type, the testing stage? Good morning to everyone that is saying hello on the chat. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, we'll keep moving forward. If you have any questions, feel free, please, to write it on the comments. So what do we need for testing? We need our first version of the prototype, which is what you should have constructed during the week, or a group of potential clients, which is ideally the same people that we talk on the Empathize stage, but should be by all means a group of people that fulfill 2 main requirements. Number 1, they are not from our close circle. They're not family, they're not good friends, So, their feedback is objective. And number two, that these people are actually having the problem that I'm trying to solve. If I'm trying to solve the world hunger problem, and I'm interviewing people who have never been hungry, who has never had problems putting food on the table, it's no useful because they don't know the problem, they don't understand the problem. So I need to find people that experiences the problem that I want to solve in order to show them the prototype. I don't remember who, I think it was Jane last week that she was giving the example of a drone delivering system for food. So, for example, if I have a prototype of that, a drone that delivers pizza to your window in your house or your apartment, um, I can't show this prototype to people that don't like technology, that don't like pizza, that don't ask for deliveries, that they always cook themselves. I have to find someone who has the problem, so their feedback is going to be valuable for me. And finally, and this is very, very important, we need to have resiliency. Have you heard this word before? Do you know what it means? It's used a lot, but it's a very deep and intricate concept. We will quickly define it as, I don't know why this picture is there, but okay. Means that we're able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. As entrepreneurs, as innovators, and as people who want to change the world, we have to be resilient because, by definition, we are going against the current. We are trying to do something that nobody else has done in a way that nobody else has done it before. And change and new things usually are not supported by the majority of people. People are going to tell you that you're crazy, that your ideas are not good enough, and you should look for a normal job, a grown-up, serious job, that you don't have the skills, that you don't have what it takes to change the world, to solve the problem that you want to solve. And then is when resiliency comes into play. You have to be able to take the no's, to take the punches, and keep moving forward. Because nobody changes anything without being resilient and going against the current, and trust in yourself, in what you have to share, in your ideas, in your power, in your energy. Okay? We have to be resilient. And our first test of resiliency is going to come in the stage testing, when we show our prototype to people and we're going to see perhaps negative comments. As we say in every class, remember that our focus is people, not our ideas, not how cool our project is. It's about the people that are having real problems that we want to solve. So never forget, we go back to our focus right now because we go back to talking to people. So when we go out there to the testing stage, there are a few things that we need to keep into consideration, a few things that we need to look for. Okay, we show the prototype, the person in front of us is going to try to use it, understand it, touch it, play with it. And there's certain questions that we need to get answers to, even if we don't ask the question ourselves. Remember, we should not ask questions, we should not explain anything. The prototype should be self-explanatory. But we need these 5 things. First, Does the client understand how my product or service solves the problem that I'm trying to solve? So if I show a prototype of the delivery drone, does people understand what is it for? How does it work? In number two, do they understand how to use it? Do they get how to use the whatever solution I'm offering them? Is it easy to understand? Is it easy to use? Is it what's the word that they use? It says intuitive. You see it and you click here and a menu opens and okay, that it's easy to understand. It's easy to adapt to what I know. Do they like it? Number three, it's very important that they like it. If they like it, they're going to buy it. They're going to share it. They're going to talk about it. It's important that they like it. Does it have the wow factor? And by this, remember, we're trying to create innovative products here, things that people haven't seen, ways of solving problems that nobody has seen before. So there should be, at certain point when we're showing this, when the person actually understands how this prototype works and how it what and why what is it's used for, apologies, what it's used for, they say, wow, this is what I needed. That finally, something that is going to help me. That moment when they realize that their prayers have been heard and that you bring the solution that they've been looking for. And feedback. Every person that you interact with in this stage should give you feedback. Even if that feedback is one line, even if that feedback is negative, we should get feedback. What do they think of the prototype? Easy to use? Do they understand it? Do they like it? Would they buy it? Would they use it? Is the color okay? Do they like the application? Do they like the interface? Etc. etc. All that kind of feedback you need to keep moving forward with this. Because after testing, remember, we are doing a cycle. Design thinking is a cycle. And after testing, the most likely outcome is we're going to get feedback that is a little bit negative, a little bit positive, but we get learnings, we get insights, we get data, information that is going to help us make our prototype better. Perhaps it's information that I can immediately add to my prototype and do a new round of testing, for example. Now, most of you are working with apps, so let's say, okay, I show the prototype and people love it, but they say, you know what, I don't want an app. I want something on the web so I can access it even if I don't have the app downloaded and from my desktop computer, etc. So, okay, the product is good, but it can't be an app anymore. It must be a web app. So I'm going to change the prototype and land it on the web. So I just updated prototype. Sometimes the feedback is going to give us such deep insights, and we're going to learn so much about our customer and the problem that we're trying to solve that we realize, you know what, this first solution that we came with, it's not enough. It doesn't cover everything. It's not what the client was expecting. So we need to go back one step behind to the ideate stage and reformulate our solution, which means, of course, we're going to have a completely new prototype. It's part of what can happen, and it's part of reality, and it shouldn't discourage you. It's what a lot of huge companies do, and that's when they find success. Remember, for example, that Netflix originally began as a DVD delivery system through bikes. Bikes would go around town giving people the DVDs that they wanted, and then people would return those DVDs to special mailboxes spread throughout the city. That was their first prototype. That was the first version. And after going through this cycle once, twice, a lot of times, doing a lot of testing with a lot of clients, at one point they realized, okay, we need to go digital. And now they are what they are. So don't be afraid to do this cycle and to follow this to heart. Don't let your pride or your love for your idea to be the guide of this ship. Let the journey guide you, if you will. Let the people tell you what they want and what they're looking for in a solution, and you're going to discover with your clients, like working hand in hand, you will discover what is the final solution that they need and how to turn that solution into a good prototype that is going to turn into a good product or service. And this is a cycle that never stops. So you do it until you have your final product or service ready to launch to market, and then you do it perhaps once a year, once a semester. You talk to clients and you learn more about how they're experiencing the problem, how they're using the solution. Perhaps you created the drone for pizza delivery, but after a year of using it, people are saying, well, I like this, but what if you also deliver ice cream? And what if I can program the drone to, go to the pharmacy and bring me my medicines? So the client, the needs of the client evolves with time, evolves with technology. What they expect today to be a solution will be far more complex or completely change in a couple of months or a year. So we have to be always paying attention to this evolution of the needs and wants of the client. So we offer them something that they want to buy and that they want to be loyal to. I know we talk a lot about clients and products and services and money and buying. And some of you might be saying, well, this is not what I got here. I didn't, this is not a sales workshop. I got in here because I want to solve problems and help people. And this is exactly what we're doing. Remember that in order to change the world, to solve people's problems, in order to make any changes in the society that you want to do, that you want to make, you have to be able to sustain your solution, that whatever you create grows in time and is able to provide a work for you and the people that you're going to need in your team. You cannot do this for free, because if you do it for free, it's a hobby, and hobbies don't change the world. Hard work 24/7 change the world, and you have to be able to pay rent, to buy food, to every now and then have a good time, take a vacation. Some of you might want a family. You need to be able to support your family. So, and for that you need money. You need the business to keep running, to hire more people, to make your product better, to expand it to new countries, new regions. That's why we talk about clients and money and business models and all that stuff. It's because even if what we want to do is completely selfless and we have zero interest in getting money out of helping people in poverty, we need to be able to make it sustainable, financially sustainable, to make enough money for us to get the salary we need to work full time on this and change the world. Okay? You won't be able to change the world if you can't survive a no. If you show your prototype to people and they say, no, this is dumb, this is not good, I don't understand it, I don't like it, etc., it's very natural that your first reaction is running away and just locking yourself in your room and I don't want to do this anymore. We've all been there. We've all been there, scared of going out and do our first interviews, scared of showing our ideas to potential clients, very disappointed when we receive our first bad feedbacks, very disappointed when we launch our product and nobody buys it. And it's part of what we do. Remember that in our introductory class we talked about failure? Well, this is the kind of failure that entrepreneurs and innovators like yourselves face constantly and have to know how to deal with it. No, no, you're not good enough. No, your idea is not good. No, I won't give you money for this. No, I won't buy. There's infinite amount of no's. You have to be able to turn those no's into yes and be smart enough to know when you've received so many no's that you have to take a step back and with humility say, perhaps this is not a good idea. I need to upgrade it. I need to leave it there for later and work on another idea. Okay. It's important that we are resilient and we don't let ourselves and we don't guide ourselves by the no's, but also to realize when we are doing something that cannot be done. Not because we're not good enough, not because our ideas are bad, but because perhaps the technology is not ready for our idea. That happens a lot. We have very innovative ideas, and then we realize there's no way of executing them. That's why we actually have a step for this. The brainstorming stage, we organize the ideas into what can be done with today's technology and what can't be done yet. And those ideas go into a folder and they wait until the technology is ready. Perhaps your country is not the right country, it's not the right market for this idea. But if you did it in, I don't know, France, it would work perfectly. So we have to be humble enough to recognize when we should stop pushing forward, but that moment doesn't happen when you get the first or second or third no. How many of you feel rejection, fear rejection? They don't like when people don't like you. You don't like when people say no. You don't like when you invite someone to hang out and they say no. You take it personally. How many of you feel like that? I bet that a bunch of you do. I do. It took me a long time to be able to separate the professional from the personal, from sharing an idea with friends and they say, you know what, I don't see it working. And don't take that as, oh, they're not being faithful to the friendship or something like that. You have to be able to push through. Okay. And after this stage, now you are on possession of design thinking basic knowledge. You now know how to turn ideas into products or services. This might seem very simple to you, and you might not believe that you're ready to do this after just 5 weeks and 5 hours of these lessons with me. But this process that you just learned is the result of years and decades of research, of trial and error, of people showing their ideas and getting the no's and turning those no's into knowledge, and decanting this into these 5 steps. Now you have all the tools you need to turn those brilliant ideas in your heads into actual products or services. The only wall that you have right now to do it is yourselves, is just wanting to do it and try it out. Just choose an idea and go for it. Try it. The worst thing that can happen is that after a couple of weeks of research, you realize, you know what? This idea is not going to work. Too much negative feedback. I'm not ready to do this yet. I need to learn more. It's not the time for the project. That's the worst thing that can happen. You're going to learn. You're going to create new networks. You're going to learn more about yourself and what you're capable of. You're going to expand your professional and personal networks. You're going to put into use something that you learn. That's not negative. There's nothing bad that can come out of you trying out this. And the only way of becoming an expert in this, of becoming very familiar with all these steps, to actually really understand these 5 steps and to make good products out of it, is by doing it. Not different than riding a bike. I can show you how to ride a bike. You can watch videos how to ride a bike. I can give you a guide on how to ride a bike. The only way for you to learn how to ride your bike and learn to love to ride bikes is riding bikes. So now start riding the bike of design thinking. But remember, we just touched the basics here. This is the basic, the 5 steps which are going to allow you to turn ideas into real products or services. But there's so much more to learn about design thinking, this process. If you want to deepen your knowledge, or if you have specific questions that you're experiencing while doing the process. I'm trying to turn this idea into an actual product, but I got stuck in stage 3. I don't really understand how to connect this with this. I'm having problems. We just review the basics, and it's going to help you a lot, but there's so much more to learn. And for that, remember, your first go-to whenever you have doubts, whenever you have questions, whenever you need help, is, well, the program, the Coderina program and their team that are helping you right now. But you have different ways of getting this knowledge. On one, the internet is full of manuals and tutorials and different documents that you can download for free that are going to give you a more in-depth view of design thinking, examples of design thinking, of creating new and innovative products. You can look for them, and what I do is I have a folder in Google Drive or some cloud-based folder, and I have there all the PDFs, all the documents that I found around online that I find interesting for my profession, which is this. Look for them and read them when you have time. You're going to have a lot of good examples, different ways of explaining this. Perhaps in the way that I explain it, it didn't make a lot of sense for you, but if you read it in other words, it's going to make perfect sense. There are a lot of free online classes that you can take about design thinking and the different stages, and about innovation in general. Don't be afraid to get those online classes. As I said, a lot of them are for free, and you can, especially since the pandemic, you can access classes from the best universities in the world without leaving the comfort of your room, and for free. So take advantage of that. Use social media, specifically Twitter, but also Instagram or Facebook, and follow people you admire. Follow people that work in the innovation ecosystem. Follow inventors that are from your country, from your city, and usually people that move in this environment share a lot of knowledge and opportunities, because just like a lot of people help them to get to where they are, they're more than happy to help other people move forward. So follow people on social media, people that are going to that you can learn something about regarding whatever problem you want to solve, the design thinking process, about being innovators, about being entrepreneurs, about changing the world, about changing things in your country. There's a lot of inspiration that you can get from there, and a lot of good networking. YouTube is the go-to also for learning anything. Do you want to review one of the stages of design thinking? Look for it on YouTube. Do you want to learn how to do robotics? Do it on YouTube. It's whatever you want to learn, someone made a tutorial about it on YouTube. Use it. It's free. It's on your phone. You can learn basically all the knowledge of the world is now in your pockets. Use it for free. And there's a lot of institutions, universities, personalities that have what is called newsletters. Newsletters are emails that are arrived to you, depending on the person. It can be every other day, weekly, monthly, etc. And they send you what they consider the most important news, the best tips, the most useful tools. I'm subscribed to a bunch of them, and you always receive like good opportunities. There's funding opportunity here, there's money here, there is an innovation contest here, or we'll do a free class of this in this other link. There's so much information. I constantly surf the web, especially Twitter, following these people and looking for the new manual of this. There's a new class about this. There's a funding opportunity here. There's so much information, guys and girls, out there. So seize it. Take advantage of the opportunity. It's free. It's on your phone. It's on your pocket. Just use it. And don't believe that because you finish this stage that we just finished, this sessions, design thinking sessions, that you're masters of design thinking and you know everything that there is to know about this process and innovation. By definition, the innovation world changes by the day. The methodologies get updated, new products and new technologies keep showing up and keep changing how we do things. So you have to stay connected, to have a, how they say it, a finger in the pulse of innovation, so you know what's happening and you know when that idea that you had that was perhaps a couple of months ago was extremely crazy because nobody knew how to execute that, how to make that a reality. Perhaps tomorrow someone creates the technology that is going to help you do it. So you have to stay connected. And congratulations and thank you. A very huge thank you for all of you that stayed till the end and follow these classes and hopefully learn something with me and with the Goderina team. I'm extremely grateful of the opportunity of being here, sharing my experiences and what I've learned with you. It's always important, it's always emotional, and you always learn something while teaching. And it's always fun to see your ideas, your thoughts, your questions, how you interact with this, if you get excited or not. I learn from every time that I do this, I learn something and I learn from you. You are my clients. And now that I show you my prototype, my product, I would love feedback. Tell me what you think. Did you learn something? Is it good? Was it fun for you? Do I need to change something? Would you have rather done it in a different way? Whatever thought you have about this, please feel free to share it. I'm very happy to have this experience and this opportunity with you guys and girls, and I wish you the best. I hope that I can show up next week and see your final projects being presented, and if not, I'll talk to people of Codarina so they can tell me how everything went. Okay, so if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything you would like to share, any feedback, whatever, please write it on the comments, and I'll give you a few minutes to share. My pleasure, James. Really, really a pleasure and an honor to be able to share all this with you. Thank you very much. It's that's my motivation when I get messages like that. That's I'm going to have a happy day after reading that. Thank you. So if there are not any more comments, feedback, thoughts, doubts, whatever, again, it's been a pleasure. Best of luck for all of you in what's to come. Keep believing in yourselves. That's the first thing you need to do if you want to be innovators. Believe in yourselves, in your ideas, in your passions, in what you have to share with the world. And keep pushing forward. Keep learning from the no's. Keep doing this. Keep learning. Keep participating, and share what you learn. Invite more people to join the Codarina programs. Invite more people to believe in themselves and help change the world. This is a team effort. Okay? A pleasure. Have a great afternoon, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone. Thank you very much, sir. It's a great pleasure to have you this week.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone, we're just going to wait for the next class, which is by by 2. Take care and have a fun day. Bye bye.